So, what does God have to say about us being empowered people? Now, I believe this answer can be found in Genesis chapter 1, amongst other places. But Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 says this: Then God said, Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the sky, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. Verse 27. God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him, male and female, he created them. Verse 28, God blessed them, and he said to them, Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and rule over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the sky, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. All right. There's a few things I want to cover real quick. One of them is God talks about ruling. He talks about ruling when he's creating man, and when he's speaking over man, he talks about ruling. So he wants us to rule. And the question is, are we ruling or being ruled? All right, and this can relate to any situation. All right, are we letting life dictate to us what we're gonna do, or are we dictating to life what we're gonna do? So what I'm saying is, are we reactionary? Are we always like reacting to what's going on in life? Are we being proactive? Are we ruling? Are we taking charge of things like a manager at a business? I mean, is he just waiting for things to happen in the business, or is he organizing things and setting things in place to so that the business can run smooth? Is he ruling? Is he being in charge, or is he just kind of letting the business run itself? All right, number two, he talked about the man being made in the image of God. Okay, and when you think about the image of God, do you think about weakness? Do you think about being sick? Do you think about being powerless? No, that's not the things we think about when we think about God. So if God made us in His image, then you got to reflect on that. What does that look like? Does it look powerless? Does it look weak? Does it look sick? You know what I mean? Or does the image of God look powerful? Does the image of God look well? Does the image of God, look influential? I mean, what is that? What do you think that looks like? And I can assure you, when we think about God as a supreme being, we're not thinking about weak things. We're not thinking about sick things. We're thinking about the highest things that we could possibly think of. We're thinking about the best that we can think of in terms of power and strength and stuff like that. So consider that. Consider the image of God. And if you've been made in His image, what does that look like? What should you look like as it relates to that? And then He talks about blessing us. So He blesses humanity. So we live with this blessing on our lives, spoken over us by God. Like, this is not our job, or this is not, necessarily your parents. And that's good things if our parents are speaking well over us, if people at our job are speaking highly of us, or are favoring us in some kind of way, that's great. But to be blessed by God is on a whole nother level. To know that in my life, as I live and breathe, and as I go from day to day, that I have God's blessing hovering over my life and influencing what's going on in my life is critically important. But it's something that we have to be aware of. You know what I mean? We can talk ourselves out of a lot of things. That's why I ask, are we ruling in this life, or are we being ruled? All right, because the blessing resides on you. So then we should be, as we live, we should be living in confidence, about us being made in His image, about God desiring us to be rulers, not to be people being ruled over. Okay. Now, this is the last thing I'll say before I end the video, is that there's a unity in us ruling. I'm talking about humanity. Like, so there's equal opportunity in ruling, in that God blessed both the man and the woman. He gave dominion both to the man and the woman. So I say that to say this, that ruling and dominion is not isolated to one sex, right? Both male and female have the right to live an empowered life, have a right to rule. So think about that. Like, I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care, if you're a guy who comes from a place where, like me, I didn't grow up with my biological father. My stepfather did a great job of raising me, but for a while he wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't come into my life until later. So I lived without a father, and a lot of times I felt like I didn't have the right to rule, to be in charge, to to have dominion in my life. Like life just happened to me, and I just let it. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say. That I didn't think that I could rule. That I didn't think I could have dominion. So it's not just like something that, there's a lot going on today where there's a movement for women empowerment. But what I'm saying is that, and that's something that, women should be empowered. But what I'm saying is that it doesn't mean that just because for a long time men has seemed to be the dominant figure, that there's not men out there that feel like they can't rule either. So I'm just saying that this is a unified thing, that both men and women should be ruling, should have dominion in this world. My wife has a role in this house. I have a role in this house, but we rule together. We have dominion together. Okay, so listen, share this video, like this video. If you haven't subscribed already, do that for me. And I'll talk to you guys soon.